I think we outsmarted ourselves with the last one.
You're listening to the Theology of Games podcast, your source for gaming news, reviews, and interviews with the top voices in the industry. Find us online at theologyofgames.com. And now, here are your hosts, Scott Firestone and Jeremiah Isley.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to podcast number 5 for Theology of Games. It is our Christmas edition of the podcast.
Ho, ho, ho.
And it's Santa Jeremiah Claus.
Merry Christmas.
That was dumb.
That was pretty bad.
Okay. But seriously, so this is going to be maybe a little bit smaller show, but still awesome stuff in it.
We've got a lot of cool things in Santa's bag that we just got to ditch the Santa thing.
Yeah.
It might be a mini edition of the podcast, but it might not, because we still have some cool stuff that we're going to talk about, including a double take review of Relic Expedition, which is a nifty little discovery game for definitely for the family. So we got that, and we're going to talk about Christmas stuff and our gift guide and all kinds of fun stuff and whatever else we decide to talk about. And I'll probably make a Star Wars reference or 5 along the way.
Guaranteed.
Definitely guaranteed.
All right, so let's kick things off with some Christmas stuff. I thought, hey, let's talk about Christmas traditions we have. And so we're going to do that.
Let's do it. You go first.
I'm going first? Okay.
Yeah.
So I do not know how this got started. I don't remember what the genesis was, but for as long as I can remember, we have done a scavenger hunt with the kids. So my wife got, she got them from Starbucks, these tiny little stockings. And I don't know if gift cards came in them or what, but anyway, she kept them. And so every year I write out a scavenger hunt with, it's kind of a rhyme, and the kids, when my oldest was the only one who was old enough to really care, I wrote them all for him. But now that the younger one is older, I kind of switch back and forth between a harder one and an easier one, and each kid gets to figure out where it is. And so I might send them upstairs to our bathtub to get the next one, and then the next one might be in a game box. I usually use some kind of a game box and something. And so I take them all over the house, and then at the end, when they get to the final one, there is their set of Christmas pajamas. And so we do that on Christmas Eve, a scavenger hunt.
The Christmas Eve scavenger hunt.
Yep.
I guess I'll touch on 2 things that we do for Christmas tradition. We do the whole Christmas Eve pajamas as well, which, we don't do the scavenger hunt, but you got to have matching pajamas on Christmas morning. That's just part of being American, or I don't know. But
I'm pretty sure they wear pajamas in other countries, but I'm not sure.
That's probably true. Maybe they don't match. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, we actually, it's not a tradition that we try to uphold, but it seems like every year there's somebody with some sort of illness in our home. It just happens to hit us on Christmas break. And there was one year, probably 3 years ago, literally everybody was like knocked down, dragged out, stomach flu, sick. It was terrible. I felt so bad for my wife. She could not even sit upright on Christmas morning. And, so that's not really a tradition, but that's just something that happens. But, when I was growing up, we had this tradition that we would always try to find some creative and very loud way to wake my parents. So the year that this became really fun was the year that I got my first drum set. So we would always come up with things. I mean, it got to the point where we got big enough, and there were three of us, my two other siblings and I, would go in and we'd like literally lift their mattress up and drop it and do crazy things like that. And fortunately, my kids haven't figured that out yet. So that's a tradition that I'm also hoping doesn't get held up, because I'm the parent that wants to sleep in now, which, well, to a degree, I want to sleep in, but I'm still kind of a big kid at Christmas time and want to get up early and open presents. So there's some Isley family Christmas history. I don't know if it's necessarily tradition, but there it is.
Christmas tradition.
Yay!
All right. So now we are going to do our review for this podcast, and this month's review is an exploration game called Relic Expedition. Wow, 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 wow.
Did we actually? We didn't plan that. It just happened.
That was so organic, almost like the jungle.
The jungle with its quicksand and its bananas and vines and stuff.
Welcome to the jungle.
We should edit that out.
Well, why? It's a terrible song, but it fits.
It does, but
okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
so if maybe you've played a game called To Call, which is kind of a classic board game. It's designed by Wolfgang Kramer and
good old Wolfie.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite designers, actually.
Yeah.
Although this is not one of my favorite designs of his. But anyway, it's a jungle game where you have action points to spend and you're exploring and you're getting treasure and things like that. And I thought, this is going to be similar to that. And it's not really. It's kind of its own game. So
there you go. You thought you had it figured out from the get-go.
I did not.
Yeah. So, so Jungle Relic Expedition players, you kind of start with a board that is pretty small. It's a base camp, and then you add a few tiles around depending on how many players are on it or how many players are in the game. And which I know you don't like about the game, you roll some dice, and that tells you how many actions you have. And you can move, or you can pull items out of a bag of holding and add those to your backpack. And then as you move through this jungle and you get to the edge, you start adding more tiles. So every time you play this game, it's different because the board comes out different, and there's different tiles that come out, and there's different features, like there's a cool cave and a mountain and a river. And as you're going, you're trying to find treasure. And the goal is to find 4 pieces of treasure that either match in type or in color, and then get to a helicopter pad, which you find as you go, and get lifted out of the jungle. And if you're the first one to do that, you win. But along the way, like as you pull these tiles out, there's different animals that are predators or, dangerous or hazardous to you. There's also treasures, there's items and stuff like that come along. And so that's the gameplay in a pretty quick nutshell. What else was I going to say? Did I miss anything?
No, not really. I really liked the exploration aspect of this. As you're going along, it's pretty cool. You're adding stuff. And I got to the end and I thought, that was really cool. I liked the way the board came together. I liked that it's not all one hex tiles. Most of it is. But as you said, there are these features that have a river and a cave and a mountain, and they're thematic. So you have to have a light to go into the cave, and
right.
The river has certain special rules and things like that. And I really liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that is almost a little underplayed. Like when you look at the game, it looks cool because the board lays out. It's very, like we've already said, it's organic. So the board kind of shapes and curves and moves in different ways depending on how the players want to play it. But I really liked there's that kind of resource management with all the different items. Like there's items that'll help you prevent being attacked by animals, but there's also items that'll help you climb the mountain or get into the cave and things like that. And you can drop those and risk somebody coming along and picking it up and it helping them. So there's a lot of themed items and mechanics in there that thematically just work super smooth with how the game plays.
Absolutely. And they're interesting, special thing. I mean, I got a machete early in the game and it was really helpful to help clear the path because a lot of the tiles have easy access between them, but some of them have these kind of thick hedgerow jungle sides, and it costs extra points to go through there unless you have a machete. And so if you get a machete early, it's going to be pretty cool for you, but everything's pretty well balanced in there, I would say. It seems like some things are more useful than others, but also more useful during certain times. If the cave's not out, you don't really care about the headlamp yet, but anyway. And they come with these cool, I don't know, Scrabble racks almost that act as your backpack. And so each one of those has 8 slots on it, and that's the upper limit of what you can carry in your backpack. But that includes the supplies, but also the relics, which are the point of the game. You're trying to collect these relics that are scattered about the map. So as you collect more relics, then you're going to have fewer things in your backpack to help you get them. So it kind of balances itself out that way as well.
Yeah, and I liked how that added as sort of, man, I have to choose which way I'm going to go. Am I going for this type of relic or this color? And at some point, you end up actually just dropping pieces of treasure, these relics, and hoping that's not what someone else is getting, so they can just come swing by and pick it up, and that might be the piece they need. So there's a lot of sort of interesting decisions around what you're going to just keep in your pack. And yeah, it's definitely Scrabble racks, like probably the best way to explain that, which is cool because it keeps hidden what's in your pack. Only you can see what's in there, and that's sort of part of it too. Like there's a little bit of bluffing that happens there.
Right. And sometimes you don't get a choice of what you drop because the game comes with animals that will mess up your plan. So you might turn over a tile and it has a snake on it. So you put a snake on there, and then as the game progresses, you're going to be rolling these dice, as Jeremiah said, and you'll be moving these different animals around, and you can send them after your enemies or away from you or whatever. So there are 4 of them, and they are all represented by these awesome meeple figures. Each one of them is nice carved wood of a snake and a boar and a panther and a monkey. And they look really cool.
Yeah, I got to play the print and play version of this, which was basically like heavy paper for the tiles, and then I rated every game. Like I had hero clicks for monkeys and, little joystick guys for the whatever. The final version of this, the meeples are awesome. All of them, like you have snake meeples and monkey meeples, and your adventurers look like little Indiana Jones guys, and the tiles are thick and chunky. So yeah, I just wanted to get that in there because I loved the components, especially after playing a print and play version of it. It just, it made the game so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely. So the different animals, the snake will cause you to lose a turn. The boar will cause you to drop all of your backpack items and lose a turn. The panther will cause you to drop all your backpack items, lose a turn, and your explorer has to go off the board because he was injured so badly he has to be medevaced out and then come back onto the board. And then the monkeys will steal an item from your backpack or the board, and that's randomly determined. So they might steal a relic or they might steal a supply. And each one of these things, there is a supply that can help you fight them off. So you won't lose a turn if you have a first aid kit, or if you have a trap or a dart for that certain kind of animal, you can, for one turn, fight them off.
Or if you have a banana, you can give that to the monkey instead.
Yes.
Because they like bananas.
Yeah. It's kind of cliched, but, there it is anyway.
But it's true.
Sure. So, I guess what we could talk about a little bit is these components. We already talked about the meeples and the cool the racks. So the supplies, I really like the artwork. Actually, in the whole game, I really like the artwork. It has a feel of old pulp comics. You would see that, like, this is something your dad had out in the barn where he'd read these old comics about adventurers fighting off, huge apes that were carrying off the women, and the art style is really cool.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of, like, Romancing the Stone and Indiana Jones and all of that. Just the look and the feel of it, very, very well designed. And, we've talked about the components and the bits and pieces and stuff. Just all quality. Randy Hoyt is a graphic designer who decided to make a game, and this is what came out of it. And as you start laying the jungle out and you see all the pieces come out and it creates this jungle, it looks really cool. I was really, really pleased with it.
My big complaint with the components was on the supplies, there are some of them that you draw out of the bag, and then some of them that are on the board that if certain things trigger, you just grab one. And they have green faces and tan faces, but because of the color palette they used, at least for me, I'm colorblind, and so at least for me, those were very, very close to each other, and I had a hard time differentiating between them as we were setting things up and all of that.
I would agree with that. I noticed that as well. I kind of started throwing stuff around. I was like, oh, wait, these are different colors. And so it's kind of muted. It's not a very vibrant color that they used. And so, yeah, you kind of find yourself going, oh, I got to sort these out. And that's probably the one downside for the game for me was that little color difference, and then the setup can get a little wonky because there are those items that don't go into the bag and they stay out, and there's just a little bit of preset. The setup time kind of gets a little tedious, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the other downside, and I totally get why they did it, the rule manual, the rule book is really small. It's done that way because it's supposed to look like it's a survival guide. It's this little like back pocket guide to survival or whatever. But when you're trying to look up a rule really quick, turning the little pages and trying to leaf through kind of was, this is a really nitpicky thing, but the smaller pages I didn't enjoy. Much rather have had a bigger, fuller reference guide to read through. But again, that's such a nitpicky thing.
I don't think it's that nitpicky personally. I agree with you. In fact, I really like the idea of the field guide. It just adds flavor to it. It's cool, but it just wasn't organized very well. And so I was like, okay, well, where's the rule for that? Oh, it seems like it should be here, but it's actually there. And so I was constantly flipping through there trying to find out the rules. And then it comes with this. It does come with a big, like, regular-sized rule book that's a quick start guide. It's full color and everything, except the quick start guide is missing, like, major rules that you need. So it's not actually a quick start guide. It's a quick start guide if you don't want to follow some of the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I thought that was a little weird. It was like, well, you should probably just pick one of those things and go with it. And because all you did was basically, okay, well, now I have these two rule books to combine, and one of them is super vibrant and organized well. It's just missing stuff, and the one that has the stuff in there is not organized well, but is clever. So it was a mixed bag for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like, the field guide was probably just a little bit where, form overtook function, and, like I said, I totally get it, and it was cool, it was thematic, but at the same time, the rule book is the rule book. Like, I just want the rules. So, I don't know. It doesn't ruin it for me by a long shot. I still really enjoyed the game, but it was one of those things where you kind of have to wade through that to kind of get everything sorted out.
Yeah, if you're gonna choose a side on that, designers and publishers, go for clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Absolutely. Yeah, very rarely do I go, oh, I wish this rule book was more thematic and harder to read.
Right. I want my questions answered eventually.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm going to flip through this cool book.
In the least likely place that I'm going to look.
Right. Don't do that. Be clear.
Yes. But like I said, to me, maybe it's not such a tricky thing, but it definitely does not ruin the game for me because I really, really enjoyed it. And I thought, man, it simulated so well the exploring theme of the game. And you totally felt like, I'm going to go to this next tile and I don't know what's beyond that. So you really felt like an explorer in this jungle looking for treasure and relics and all that. And I just thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's not a terribly heavy game or rules heavy game. So after a couple of games, it's not like you're going to need to reference it a bunch. And it does come with what's the word? Little tiles that tell you exactly what you can do on each turn.
The little player guides.
That's it.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Good thing I don't use words for a living or anything.
Right.
So, anyway, but like I said, after a few games, it's not going to be a big deal. But for the first couple, we were like, oh, I cannot remember what that rule is.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is that?
And I've played it with both of my sons who are 5 and 7, and as well as adults and gamers and stuff. And we've all enjoyed it. It's that I don't want to say simplistic, but it's that lightweight that my 5-year-old like actually schooled us at it. We totally didn't even realize that he had the treasure, and the next thing we knew, he won. But it's also fun enough that an adult, or especially like a gateway gamer, somebody that's kind of getting into it, they'll totally enjoy it. They'll love it. So
that's a nice segue to my biggest problem with the game. Now, I've said a few things that bother me, but I'm being serious here. I really enjoyed this game. There's one aspect, though, that to me seems almost insane for someone to make as a design decision. Now, I've read Randy has been very vocal on the Geek, answering questions and helping people with the game, and he talked about this decision, but I still disagree with it. So the decision is there is a die in the game that has 2 2s, 2 3s, and 2 4s on it, and on your turn you roll that die, and whatever comes up, that's how many action points you have to spend on that turn. What? If any kind of gamer is going to play this game, it is unacceptable to me, and I understand I'm the grump of the group, but to possibly get 2 or possibly get 4 action points on a turn just seems like a terrible idea. Which is why I think it's a fine family game. This is a great family game, actually. Good non-gamer game, like that. But as is, we played it once with my gamer group, and they were all like, okay, well, there's no need to ever do that again, because that one decision took it just out of the realm of, for us, being fun as a game, of just, man, that guy rolled 3 4s in a row, and I rolled 3 2s in a row, and so I have a fraction of the actions he does. Hate that.
Yeah. I it doesn't kill it for me. I understand the frustration with it, or the potential frustration with it. It's one of those things that's a little bit of a head scratcher, because thematically I can't go, oh, I can understand that because this, and this. It seems like it's sort of just a chaotic randomizer, which, as you know me, it doesn't really ruin a game for me. But it to me is a head scratcher, because everything else is so thematic and smooth and explainable within the theme and the realm that you're playing in. And then there's that dice that kind of randomly does thing. Now there's the die for the animals,
yes,
which I get,
right,
because they're uncontrollable. You don't know what they're going to do. They're very unpredictable. So you roll that, and then you see which ones move. Great. But I don't understand why sometimes you get more actions or more, more or less.
Well, on the Geek, Randy said that thematically it was like, oh, you twisted an ankle on this turn, or, he explained it in a kind of thematic way, but I still feel like there's plenty of randomness in this game. The tile draws,
Sure.
The supply draws from the bag, the animal movement. Like, there's plenty of randomness in the game. We don't have to add it in on the front end when you're trying to do your turn.
Right. Yeah, I totally get that. And I can see a little bit of what he's saying, but I agree with you. I think, just with the density, like some tiles have the dense jungle on one side or several sides, and, it takes 2 actions to get through those unless you have the machete. I think there's enough randomness there that, like I said, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. Totally doesn't kill the game for me, and I will still play this and bring it out with friends and family and whoever will play it with me. But yeah, it's one of the design decisions that I agree with you. I think it's a little bit of a quandary, but I won't let it ruin it for me.
It won't ruin it for me either, except for with gamers. There's no way I could possibly play this with gamers. But
sure,
as I said, this is a good family non-gamer game. 100% recommended.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. I would say, because of the lightweight nature of it and everything, definitely bring it out with the family and the casual gamer, and definitely put it on your table. And if you have a gaming group that doesn't mind rolling dice
for everything,
go for it. If they're into like D&D and they want to roll dice for everything, maybe not so much. But bring it out, put it on the table, go for it. It's Relic Expedition is a great game.
Absolutely. It's thematic. It's not rules heavy. There's a little bit of luck. There's a fair amount of luck to it, but it doesn't feel out of control except for the movement dice. And there's a little bit of take that because you can send the animals after other people, and there's just luck, and it's a fun game. It's a good game.
Yeah.
And in fact, go ahead.
I suppose too, like if you just said, hey, let's just agree that everybody gets 4 actions every turn, you could take that die out and solve that. Yes. Like house rules,
Absolutely.
But regardless, put it on the table, go get it. It's a lot of fun.
And I will say that I have played a number of Kickstarter games, and this is one of the best produced ones I've ever played.
Absolutely.
Especially as far as the components go. Most of those games they turn out okay, and you feel like, wow, maybe this shouldn't have been Kickstarted without some kind of developer being there to sand off some of these rough edges and everything like that. But this one, it reminds me of Viticulture, actually, which is like,
yep.
Wow, he did a great job with that Kickstarter from front to back. It's great. You feel like you got your money's worth, and it was well done. This is the same thing. You open that box and you go, man, these meeples are awesome, and the artwork is great, and these thick backpack tile holders and the dice and everything, well done.
Yeah, nice custom dice, everything, front to back. Even the cover art image is just awesome. So, yeah, I agree. It's, like you said, the Kickstarter games, sometimes you're like, oh, it's a nice game, but it doesn't wow you.
Right.
This one wowed me. I opened the box and I said, wow, this is really good stuff. So very, very well done. This is Foxtrot Games. This is their inaugural, I can never say that word. It's their very first game. And I feel like they hit a home run with it. I was really impressed with what they did. So good job, guys.
Put it on the table. Well done, Foxtrot Games.
Absolutely. And speaking of putting it on the table,
let's put it on your table.
We would love to put it on your table. We have, thank you again, Foxtrot Games. They supplied us with review copies. They've also supplied us with a prize copy. I have in my grubby little mitts a shrink-wrapped, brand new, hot off the press copy of this game ready to send to you. And how can that happen? How can they get this copy?
That sounds like you're pitching it to me to tell them.
Totally was.
Okay, I'm going to take that up then. So, the way this is going to work is you are going to have a number of chances to win the game. If you are a follower on Twitter, you'll have a chance. If you are a follower on Facebook, you will have a chance. If you are a follower on the blog itself, you will have a chance. If you are a follower on Instagram, you will have a chance. If you are a follower on YouTube, you will have a chance. Did I miss any?
That's it.
Okay, so there are five different ways. What we're going to do is for each one of those lists of people, we are going to randomly draw a name off of there. So we will have 5 names at the end. Now, it could be that because you follow all of those, you are 2 of those 5 chances. How great for you. The point is, we're going to have 5 names, and then we're going to randomly pick one of those 5 names. So, a little bit convoluted, but the point is, the more places you follow us, the more chances you have to win this fun family game. So
that's right. So the point is, if you like us on Facebook, if you follow us on Twitter, if you follow us on Instagram, if you subscribe to the blog, and if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of those things will give you a greater chance to win a free copy shipped right to your door of Relic Expedition. So what are you waiting for? Start clickety-clicking. And everything is whateverit.com/theology of games. So facebook.com/theology of games, Instagram.com, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can find us there. If you go to our blog, theologyofgames.com, we are always posting links and everything there to all of our social media. So it's not hard to find us. We are literally littering the internet with all of our stuff.
Boom goes the dynamite.
That's right. So please sign up and become a part of the TOG Nation. I just made that up. I like it. Become a part of the TOG Nation, and you can get a copy of this amazing, super awesome Kickstarter game.
Yay!
Yay!
I don't know what that was.
I don't know. So anyway, let's talk really quick with the time that we have left about our Christmas gift guide and some of the highlights that are there.
All right, let's start with party games. So,
party games.
What would you say for you is a highlight of the party game list?
A highlight of the party game list for me, well, gosh, there's a lot of good games on here. Obviously, we have Avalon on there, the Resistance, which is one of our all-time favorites.
It is my all-time favorite.
I'm hard-pressed. I'm really intrigued by this whole Princess Bride thing that Games Loot has going on, and this Prepare to Die thing. Everybody that has ever played Apples to Apples and is tired of it, they should just go get this game for their loved ones and throw Apples to Apples in the garbage and never play it again, but play Prepare to Die instead. So I think that's probably the highlight for me. And you can't get it yet, but Two Rooms and a Boom we put on there, and hopefully I think they're going to have a prepay or pre-order page soon, but that's a great game too.
For me, it is probably Reverse Charades, only because I brought this out with our small group on New Year's Eve last year, and we could not believe how much fun we had with it. It's
a fun game.
It is really fun. It sounds like such a simple idea, just reversing traditional charades, but we had a blast. And everybody wants to play it every time we get together for a game night, and people have bought it in the group, and they're playing it with their kids, and it's a really fun game.
It's very good stuff. I agree. I like that one too. That's why it's on the gift guide, right?
Boom.
All right. So kids games. We got the boys Loopin' Louie last year, and we still play it like all the time. Fun little dexterity game. It takes, like, you just end up playing game after game after game because it plays really quick. And I would say that's probably my highlight.
My 5-year-old wants to play that every single week. Monday nights are family game night. What do you guys want to play? Loop-a-Louie! 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 So, I don't know if that's a highlight or a low light because he wants to so much. You're like, hey, what if we play something else, buddy?
Nope.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to agree with you there. Loop and Louie. It is far and away the best game on that list, and you will not regret buying Loop and Louie.
Yeah, it's really good. And yeah, super awesome. Just lots of fun. All right. Do you want to do gateway games next, or should we do family games?
Gateway games, because I'm already there on my page.
Awesome. Gateway games. You go first since you're already on your page.
Okay. For me, it's La Boca. This just came out of the blue. Like one of the guys brought it, and I didn't know anything about the game, and he brought it to our weekly game night. And so we played a game, and everyone was immediately like, that game was so great. And it's kind of a Tetris game where you're playing on teams and having to put these blocks in there as fast as you can, and you're getting points for doing that. And there's a simple, quote-unquote simple game that just uses regular blocks, and then you add in this, I guess it's an L, it's more than an L shape. Anyway, it's a more complex blocks into it, and when you add that in there, it just becomes exponentially harder, but it's still a really great time. And it is a perfect game to bring out with non-gamers. I am for sure bringing this to Christmas this year, and my non-gamer in-law family, they're going to play it, and I will be shocked if they don't love it. It is a really great game, and it's the kind of game that it comes with a deck of cards, but it's not like you're ever going to remember the pattern again. There's just endless replayability. It's never going to be like, oh, I remember this one, so this goes there and that goes there. No, they're all going to seem different to you every time you play, and it's a terrific game.
That's cool. I'm looking at our list and wondering why we talked about Relic Expedition being such a great gateway game, and it's not on the gateway game list. Did we put it somewhere?
I don't think we did.
Okay. Anyway, it's on there, but I would say the highlight for me would be either Flux the board game or Boss Monster for very different reasons, but thematically, Boss Monster is a lot of fun, and people who are nostalgic of the whole 8-bit thing and crazy old Nintendo games will love that. And it's just a unique card game. It's very unlike any other sort of fixed deck game that I've ever played. And Flux the board game, because it's just cool. Like I said, like we both enjoy that game. It's a puzzle. You're trying to figure out the game while people are also trying to figure it out in a different way, but it's fun and it's accessible, and most non-gamers that I've played it with really enjoy it. So I'm going to say I have a double highlight there.
Cheater.
But I totally did cheat.
Hey, guess what game we do have on our family list?
Oh, there it is. Relic Expedition. All right. Well, at least it's on a list somewhere.
Right.
Go buy that one. I would say there's some good games on this too.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to say Riff Raff. Like, that was my first instinct, but it's kind of a pricey game. So I'm hesitant to just throw that out there as you got to buy this one.
Yeah, $70 is a lot for a family game for me. I'm going to say Relic Expedition is probably my highlight on that one. Like, we just reviewed it. So great thematic play, lightweight. Like I said, my 5-year-old plays it, and lots of fun.
I am going to choose as my cheater one and have two is I'm going to have Forbidden Desert and Walk the Plank. Walk the Plank because my friends designed it. And,
oh, yes.
So I'm not just saying it because they designed it, although I think it's kind of cool, but it's really a fun game. It is, and it's weird because it's a game that I shouldn't like based on my personality and the kind of games I like. There's tons of take that and randomness and stuff, but I'm not kidding you. Every time we play this, we have a great time with it. It is a really fun game. Forbidden Desert is a kind of the next evolution of the Forbidden Island games. It's a little more complex. It has a few more things in it. So if your family has played Forbidden Island a number of times, Forbidden Desert is the perfect next step for them. It's going to add a little more complexity and a little more fun and a little more awesomeness. Yes, awesomeness. That's the
awesomeness. Word. That's the word. I haven't played it yet. I love Forbidden Island. I haven't played Forbidden Desert yet, but we love Forbidden Island. We have like crazy songs that we sing when a tile sinks, and we just have a lot of fun with it. So, I'd like to play that sometime soon too. But I can't make it my highlight because I haven't played it. I don't know that that's a rule, but we'll just go with it.
It seems like it should be a rule.
It should be a rule. So stocking stuffers.
This is an easy one for me. Hanabi is probably my game of the year, unless something dethrones it. It is portable, cheap, and so good. It is unbelievable how good this game is.
Isn't it the game of the year? The Spiel des Jahres.
It did win the Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah, so
my personal game of the year, it probably will win that as well.
Yeah, sure. Of games that I've actually played on this list, there's some good ones. Heartland Hauling is great. Maximum Throwdown. I haven't played Coup. I want the ones that I haven't played on this list. I want them all. So I don't even know that I could pick a highlight. It's so hard. I would probably say not maybe so much the exact expansion. Well, I'm just going to say Heartland Hauling. Super fun, super portable, super cheap. They're running another print run, so you might have a hard time finding it for this Christmas, but definitely put an IOU under someone's tree or in your stocking or something, but lots of fun. We've reviewed that on the site. Check that out. It's just a cool little game, and Jason's a great guy too, so I like to support what he's doing.
Absolutely.
So
that leaves one section of the holiday gift guide left. Gamers Games.
Oh, this is a hard call too.
Super hard call.
These are such good games.
There are some terrific games in here.
So I would say I would have to narrow it to two. And these two actually could be my game of the year this year. Viticulture, which is just an exquisite worker placement game. I love it. It's so deep, but so easy to understand. And I don't know, my brain just works the way this game works. I'll just say it that way. And the other one is the Duke, which is like the exact opposite. It's an abstract 2-player, super strategic game, but I love them both. And they are both just totally worth getting.
I'm going to choose a different one.
Really?
Not just to be contrary.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have to go with Zolkin. It was, it came out very early last year, I think. And at first I thought, those giant gears are just a gimmicky thing. There's not going to be any gameplay there. And then you play it and go, nope. It's pretty awesome. And the gears are cool. So it is a fun worker placement game. There's a lot of moving parts. See what I did there? And it is, hey, that was better than that.
No, it was all right.
Okay. It is a good worker placement game, and I have very much enjoyed it. But seriously, every game on that list, I've had a ton of fun with this year.
Yeah, I own Zolkin, and I haven't actually had the chance to play it yet. I got it for my birthday just a month and a half ago, but I haven't even cracked the shrink wrap.
Why are you still talking to me?
Because I haven't been able to get it on the table. and I'm such a bummer. I'm so bummed about it.
It's Christmas time. You should remedy that.
I will very soon. I have so many games I have to play. But anyway, yeah, super great games on that list. And, one that we should have put on, and we were going to maybe talk about this, but one that we should have put on is Euphoria.
Oh, yeah. Our copies, your copy showed up, and I think my copy gets here tomorrow.
Does it? I got my copy like a couple days ago, and just looking at the box, it looks so cool.
I can't wait to play it.
And if it's anywhere near the production quality and the game design quality of Viticulture, it's going to be out of this world, and I'm super excited for it.
For sure. Now, and believe me, I trust Jamie Stegmaier, but I didn't feel like we should put it on the list if neither one of us has played. I think every game on this list, at least one of us has played, unless I'm wrong, but at least one
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. So
we don't just put games on there because they sound cool or because we were paid to do it. We haven't been paid anything to do it. And, these are games that one of us or both of us have played and we like them.
I would say, I think the only exception to that are a few of the stocking stuffer ones. Like the 12 Days I added on there because it was on tabletop and I got to watch them play it, and it looks like just a fun, quick little trick-taking game.
Okay.
But I actually heard that Amazon is sold out, like it went fast. But everything else I've at least played or demoed, or one of us has gotten on the table. So Euphoria very well could have fit on this list. We just haven't played it yet because we're just getting copies. Right. But if it delivers half of what it promises, it will be on the list next year.
Even just for those awesome steampunk dice.
Oh, yes. Custom dice. So cool.
And another game that maybe should have been on there was, and maybe in the family section or the non-gamer section, there is a holiday version of Carcassonne, or a winter edition. And it's basically the same game, except that all of the tiles have snow on them, and it's wintertime in Carcassonne.
And there's gingerbread meeples.
And gingerbread meeples for people who care, like Jeremiah.
And I totally do, and I totally want it. So
that should probably be on the list. But again, neither one of us played it, but
it's worth
it sounds
looking
like
at.
It is, just like Carcassonne, so maybe we have played it.
Right, we just haven't played that color of it.
Right, but it looks cool, and if you know somebody that likes snow and likes Carcassonne, you should buy that for them.
It's perfect. There you go. I love it.
So there's our holiday guide with highlights and
maybe a few things that we're missing.
Yes.
But we would suggest maybe taking a look at and seeing if it's something that you're into. But we have had a lot of fun putting that together. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of painstaking decisions. But hopefully it's been helpful to everyone who's had a chance to give it a click and give it a look and all that stuff too.
And speaking of hard decisions, at the start of the new year, we are going to have to come up with our best of 2013 lists.
Oh my gosh. That is going to be hard. So
we're going to have to narrow these decisions down.
I know, because we're going to have to come up with the game of the year. That's going to be tough.
It is.
And designers, if you want us to consider your game, you should send us a couple copies so we can do that. Because if we haven't played it, we're not going to pick it as the game of the year.
That's right. We can only consider things we've played.
That's right. So, but yeah, that will be coming out. When do we usually do that?
I think right after the start of the year.
Yeah, I say usually because we've done it once.
So it's usual.
Anyway, yeah, so look for that, and I don't know, we'll probably do like a podcast and maybe even a video on YouTube and definitely a blog post, and we'll give it a fair amount of pomp and many, many circumstances. So there you go.
All right. Well, this was a short episode. It was only 45-ish minutes.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, so we want to say thank you for listening. We appreciate every one of you that listens and reads the blog and cares. We know that you love board games, and we hope that you see that we love board games too and love talking about them and playing them and all that. So we really appreciate you, our readers and viewers and listeners.
Yeah, we actually, before we began recording, we were just talking about, stats and downloads and views and all of that stuff. And we are just blown away by the amount of people that come and visit our little blog and check in on our YouTube channel and all of that stuff. So we, again, just really appreciate that. And we wouldn't be able to do that if you weren't coming and looking and seeing what we're up to and what we think about all these games and everything. So we love playing games, and we're glad that you do too. And we appreciate the fact that you want to hear what we have to say because, who are we? We're just some guys with computers and stuff. So
and no hair.
And no hair, except on our chins.
Right. Also my back. Oh, that's why did I say that?
I don't know. But, yeah, it is kind of like Chewbacca back there. Hey, there's a Star Wars reference. I waited till the end.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to sign off. Merry Christmas to everyone. And
a very Merry Christmas.
We hope you play lots of games over your break. Hopefully you get a break. And so let us know what you're playing. Let us know what's going on. And we will see you after the new year.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Theology of Games podcast with Jeremiah Isley and Scott Firestone. If you enjoyed this episode, we would appreciate your subscription to the podcast and your review on iTunes. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day, and until next time, get a game on the table.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.